for today's Discover Viterbi Biomedical Engineering webinar. We have Professor Shung here with me today, and my name is Erin Tanaka, and I'm representing the Viterbi Admission and Student Engagement team within the Viterbi School of Engineering. So thank you again for joining us. I did want to mention that the content of this slide is current and up to date as of today, which is November 5th, 2019. But if you are watching this later on as recording, just keep in mind that, some of the content may have been updated and changed since the time of this recording. So we'll go ahead and get started. So just a quick note, so you will receive a PDF copy of today's presentation along with some other helpful information. So just keep that in mind. There are some links and things like that that you may feel the need to jot down. If you need them right away, go for it, but otherwise you will receive a PDF copy of the slides. In addition, throughout the session, we do encourage you, I highly encourage you actually, to ask questions. What you would need to do is there is a Q&A panel to the right of the session. So go ahead and type your questions into that menu there, and we will get to your questions. When they pertain to the full audience, then we can answer those at the time if it's relevant to the slide we're speaking about. Otherwise, we will have an opportunity at the end of the session to have a Q&A session with Professor Shung, and that will also be a great time as well. If there are more specific questions, I will be answering those at the end of the session privately as well. Okay. So for today's program, I'll start out by talking about the University of Southern California, or USC for short. I'll then speak a little bit about the Viterbi School of Engineering, and then we'll get into the focus of today's presentation, which is, of course, our graduate programs in biomedical engineering that Professor Shung will discuss. We'll provide program overviews, and then I will also talk about the application criteria and the general admission requirements there. I will also talk about our online dept Viterbi delivery method. So for those of you that may not know or are aware of our online delivery method, as well as your options in terms of how you watch lectures, this will be the opportunity to learn more about that. And then finally, tuition and fees. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask any remaining questions that we didn't answer throughout the session. So for those of you that haven't been to our campus, here's some snapshots of USC. So just some around on the school, our beautiful campus out in sunny Southern California, still warm in November. And a little bit about USC. So we are the oldest private university in the Western United States. We were founded way back in 1880. Currently, we have over 47,000 students, over 27,000 of which are our graduate student population. So our graduate population actually outnumbers our undergrad within USC. And currently we have over 4,400 full-time faculty members, and that doesn't include many of the adjunct or guest lecturers that come from a variety of different industries and backgrounds as well. We have a very diverse student population. We have students from all over the country, all 50 states, of course, and in well over 100 different countries throughout the world. And we are located in Los Angeles, so if you're not familiar with the area, we really are in the center of all the action. We are about a 10-15 minute drive from the downtown Los Angeles area, as well as about a 45-minute or so drive from the Silicon Beach area. So we really are in a great position with a lot of partnerships and collaboration from a variety of different industries and companies surrounding us. So a little bit about the Viterbi School specifically. So we are comprised of 8 academic departments. So we're one of several schools within USC. And within those 8 academic departments houses all of our master's degree and graduate certificate programs. Our student population, we have over 5,900 graduate students. So, our graduate student population is definitely a large component of our Viterbi School. And that includes our PhD students, our master's students, both online and on campus, as well as our graduate certificate students. And our faculty members, so, I won't go talk about all our faculty members because we have our particular Professor Shung here with us today. But, overall, we have 188 tenure-track faculty members, 30 of which have received the National Academy of Engineering Member Award. Also, over 70 National Science Foundation Career Awardees as well. And we're also a leader in funded research. I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide. Or in a few slides as well. So some key points of distinction. So we do have an international reputation for excellence. So, we have partnerships, collaborations throughout the world, in many different countries. So, really when you graduate with a degree from USC Viterbi, it means something, not only here within the U.S., but also in other parts of the world as well. And we have our Trojan Family Network. So we have over 77,000 engineers and growing, of course, that have either received their degree many, many years ago or more recently. But something that's really unique about our school in just being able to connect with a variety of alumni who are super supportive and have really been key in terms of the success of many of our graduates and our current students as well. And we have very unique engineering programs available. So we have everything from our online dept Viterbi graduate programs. So we also have some on-site continuing education, executive education offerings as well. We have short courses and custom programs. We also, of course, have our on-campus programs, everything from our bachelor's all the way up to our doctorate programs as well. So we know the rankings are everything, but, we do have prospective students that do ask us, what are you guys ranked? So as a graduate engineering school as a whole, we are a top 10 ranked graduate engineering program. And then specifically for our online prospective students, so this may be of interest to you, but we are ranked the #1 online graduate computer information technology program, or our computer science programs. And we're also ranked #2 for our online graduate engineering programs. And that actually spans over 40 programs that we do offer fully online via dept Viterbi. In addition, if any of you are veterans or active duty military, we are also ranked #1 for our online graduate computer information technology program, or computer science for veterans, and then also ranked #2 for our online graduate engineering program for veterans as well. So, as I mentioned before, we are a leader in funded research. So we have over 35 research centers, many industrial partnerships and collaboration. The research spans a variety of different areas. And if you're interested in research and specifically within the biomedical field, I'm sure Professor Shung could address any questions that you may have about research in a variety of different areas as well. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest, Professor Shung. He is the Department Chair of Biomedical Engineering. He received his PhD in electrical engineering from the University of Washington and has received numerous awards, including the 2016 IEEE Biomedical Engineering Award, as well as the 2011 IEEE Engineering and Medicine and Biology Society Professional Career Achievement Award. He's also won the American Institute of Ultrasound in Medicine, Joseph Holmes Pioneer Award in Basic Science in 2010, and also the USC Viterbi Senior Research Award 2008. So thank you so much, Professor Shung, for being here with us. So if you can go ahead and talk a little bit about the department, that would be great.
Okay. So believe it or not, actually the Department of Biomedical Engineering at USC is one of the oldest in the country. It's founded in 1976, so we are 43 years old. I think we're the oldest on the West Coast, probably. And we have now a core faculty about 24, and we have 2 new recruits this year. You're going to see them in the next slide. We have also affiliate faculty, about 50 of them. That means the faculty who don't have primary appointments in biomedical engineering and who have their primary appointments in other departments in the School of Engineering or in other colleges like the School of Medicine. And we have a staff 12, and we have about 250 undergraduates and 124 master's students this year and 117 PhD students. So move to. So in 1976, we had 4 faculty, and we grew to 9 faculty in 1996, and right now we have 24 faculty, and we're still growing, and right now we're recruiting 1 more faculty this year. And the 2 new faculty are Professor Jennifer Truwick, who joined USC in spring 2019. Her research area is in the general area of neuroscience. And the next one is Professor Morel Mosavi. She actually joined us in the fall of this year. So her research interest is in point-of-care diagnostics and electrochemical sensors, biosensors. Next. And the faculty, the core faculty in the department can be classified into 4 general areas. One is biosystems, biosignals, and so forth. And the other one is neuroengineering. This is a very hot area right now. A lot of people, a lot of schools in the country are recruiting neuroengineering faculty. And the third area is devices and imaging. I belong to this category. My work is mainly in ultrasonic imaging. And we have a 4th area, which is cellular molecular bioengineering. This is a new area. Actually, we started, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago. So we're trying to strengthen this area as well. Okay. And the recent noteworthy events that are occurring in the BME department of USC is we have had a very strong instructional lab that is for electronic design, for student independent projects and so forth, and that is being revamped with new equipment and new bench area and so forth. And we have a new actually instructional wet lab, and that is for classes that involve cellular biology or molecular biology, that kind of subjects. And we actually hired a full technician to run these labs. So if students or faculty have any questions and so forth, and the technicians always there to help. Another interesting thing that's happening in the Viterbi School of Engineering is that makerspace, about 8,000 square feet space, actually is going to be opened in January 2020. And that's for graduate students and undergraduate students who are interested in developing their own projects and so forth. So the facilities, again, technician support will be provided as makerspace. And fortunately, the department, we have our own makerspace, and it's also it's functional now. So students are encouraged to use this kind of facility. Actually, we have a technician full-time. I think he's part-time technician who is on site during the evening off hours to help the students in carrying out the independent projects. And some of the recent achievements in BME faculty are, one of them is that Professor Vasilis Memoralis actually received a 5-year, $10 million grant to do model-based design, model-based diagnosis of early Alzheimer's disease. And it's a joint effort among USC and 3 and to other universities. And Professor Shung received the 2019 IEEE Nanomedicine New Investigator Award. As you can tell from the picture, she's fairly young. And our previous chair, Professor Alice Mann and Professor Dong, just won a 5-year, $6 million Brain Initiative Award from NIH. We're very excited about that. Now, in terms of the master program in BME, we offer four different types. One is MS in BME, and the other one is MS in BME with emphasis in medical imaging and imaging informatics, and another one is master in BME with emphasis in neuroengineering and master in medical device and diagnostic engineering. So you can tell that typically the master's degree requires about 28 units of courses, and so depending on the emphasized area, you are required to take different classes and so forth. For instance, in this case, MS in BME, you are required to take 5 required courses, and you have 13 units of electives. But one thing I want to mention is that the university is trying to make the conversion of 3-unit courses to 4-unit courses. So some of the courses probably will change a little bit, but in general they will be very similar. And then we have the medical imaging informatics. In this case, the program requirement is for 29 units. Again, you have how many? 7 required courses, and again 6 units of elective courses. And then we have the neuroengineering emphasized. We have again 7 units of 7 required courses and 7 units of technical electives.
And just one thing I wanted to also touch upon as well is that this is the one program that's not offered online. So all the other programs are offered online via Viterbi as well as on campus. This one is an on-campus program only.
Oh, the next one is the Master in Medical Device and Diagnostic Imaging. This actually is very unique, emphasized in that I think USC is one of the very few schools that actually offer extensive courses in regulatory affairs, as you can tell from here. And we have quite a few of them. And it's led by Professor Jerry Loeb. Again, I think you have 19 units of required courses and has only 3 units of elective course. So this program is very interesting that many of the master graduates from USC will eventually find jobs in the regulatory departments of a medical company.
Great.
So the graduates from our program can find jobs in very many different companies. And on this list, you can see Abbott. That's a big, giant biomedical company. Amgen is located actually in Southern California, and Apple, and you name it.
Perfect. And I do see that there's a question here. I'm actually it's about the neuroengineering track. So the question is, you said that that was one of the options. And I believe there's one listed. Any plans to offer the BME 552 Neural Implant Engineering or BME 575 Computational Neuroengineering course?
What's the question?
Oh, so I think it's referring. I'm going to go back for a second. So the question is, he's interested in the neuroengineering track, and I guess one of the courses listed is BME 552, neural implant engineering, as well as BME 575, computational neuroengineering, and wondering if those are offered online. So at this point, yeah, you can
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, great question. At this point, they are not offered online. So that is why, this program in particular is not offered, online. It's only offered on campus, based off the content of the courses. But thank you for that question. Perfect. So I guess, a question that a lot of our students would have would be, in terms of, the job outlooks, is there a certain, if someone's debating between a general biomedical engineering versus medical imaging and imaging informatics, for example, what advice would you give them in terms of, deciding which program to do?
Okay. Well, it depends on what kind of companies you would like to work for eventually. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you are interested in working in the imaging area, like GE, I think GE is not on the list, maybe Boston Scientific and so forth, then you would probably go for the imaging track. If you are interested in, say, regulatory issues, then you go to the regulatory track. So it depends on what you want to do eventually. But one important thing is you need to strengthen your engineering background when you are doing your master's degree, because eventually you want to work as an engineer, so the engineering skill is very important.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on, speaking of, your background. So basically, I'm going to talk a little bit about the application criteria for our master's degree programs. And just keep in mind that the individual programs are going to have their individual requirements. So you will want to make sure that you consult the individual program page. But as a whole, this is the general application criteria. So you do need to have an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, or hard science including biology, chemistry, physics, etc. And it needs to come from a regionally accredited university. So you would submit your transcripts from all the schools that you attended. And if you are admitted, you would have to submit your official transcripts. To be competitive, although it's not required, we do recommend a 3.0 and a 4.0 GPA scale. But again, it's not required. So if you don't quite have a 3.0, it doesn't mean that you would not be admitted. It just means, that you will want to make sure to help to strengthen other areas of your application if at all possible. Other areas that are looked at are the GRE general test, so that is required. You would need to submit your exam scores. As long as if you've taken the test and as long as the exam you took is less than 5 years old as of the time you start the program, then that is fine as well. But there's no minimum GRE score required also. A CV or resume is also required. It's something that you would upload through the graduate application online, as well as a statement of purpose. And then you would also need to submit 3 letters of recommendation, so those can come from...
Actually, I want to add.
Sure.
I think the university is making a change in policy. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, starting from next year, the GRE scores are no longer required by university. So, but the individual departments may require GRE scores. At this point, the BME department has not decided on whether to do that or not.
Yeah. So at this point, definitely the GRE, you will need to take the general test, GRE general test. But again, not a specific score that's required. We do holistic admission. So, yes. And then in addition, for those of you that are maybe international applicants, there is an English language requirement, so you may need to take the TOEFL depending. So for application deadlines, we have our fall 2020 deadline. That is the next available term to formally apply for admission. You would need to submit all your required materials by January 15th. That's the final deadline. For on-campus students only, there also is a scholarship consideration deadline of December 15th for 2019. So the fall 2020 semester, it does start in August. For those of you that are interested in pursuing your program online via dept Viterbi, if you get close to the deadline and need additional time, we do have some more flexibility for our online dept Viterbi students. So you would just email us to see if you can receive an extension. But for on-campus students, primarily because we do grant visas only for our on-campus students, the deadlines are much strict, and so you want to make sure that you pay attention to those deadlines. In addition, if fall 2020 is too soon, spring 2021, which seems very far away, but it's not that far away, is the next application deadline after that, and that's going to be would start in January of 2021. The deadline to submit all required materials for that term would be September 15th of 2020, and then also, again, for the deadline for scholarships consideration on-campus students only would be August 31st of 2020. So we do have a couple of our delivery methods. So, of course, we have our on-campus, students that typically pursue their program full-time on USC's campus. Generally speaking, they're taking 3, sometimes 4 classes per semester, and they graduate around 1.5 to 2 years for their degree program. But then we also have our online dept Viterbi delivery method, which I mentioned before. So this is a great option, particularly for those who are working professionals that may not be able to pursue their program full-time and want the flexibility to really pursue their program from anywhere around the world. So this is also great for those that are outside of the Los Angeles area or even, not too far away. So basically a lot of our students primarily take 1 to 2 courses per semester. Again, it's because they're working full time, but it is flexible. So, you can choose how many courses you take per semester, and it's not required that you're working. So typically on average, our online students graduate in about 2.5 to 3 years, but it's flexible as long as you graduate within 5 years with the ability to extend for actually an additional 2 years if you petition. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how our dept Viterbi method works. So basically, there's a lot of different online methods out there, but ours is a, proprietary web-based system. So our dept Viterbi delivery is in-house. We do not use a third party to deliver our content. So, we have a whole team of professionals that really support our online dept Viterbi students. And the way it works is that you actually have 3 options for watching the lectures. So the first is that you can watch the lectures live online from any location, and you would be watching the live session as it occurs on USC's campus. So that would enable you to call in during the live sessions. You could also chat or your questions or use the Q&A panel similar to this session. And then in addition, if you cannot attend the live lectures, that's completely fine as long as you stay up to speed with the coursework. But you can also watch the lectures via the course archive. So basically each live lecture is recorded, and then a recording of the session goes into the course archives, and you have access to download and stream those lectures from that point until the very end of the semester. So it's very convenient for our students in terms of, going back and watching the lectures on their own time, and many times it's a great studying tool as well. And then in addition, our online students, even though they're technically online students, they can also come to campus. So they do have a seat in the classroom. So when their schedule enables them to come to class, they're welcome to come and sit in the lectures, meet the professors and their faculty members, as well as students and TAs as well. And I will talk about some of these other things in a bit, but one thing I do want to mention in terms of exams, because many students kind of concerned about that particular aspect is that, for those that are within the Los Angeles, and about, 25-mile radius area, so Los Angeles, Ventura, and Orange County areas, they would take their exams on USC's campus. So that would be the case for those, and that you wouldn't have to incur any proctoring fees or things like that. But for those of you that are outside of that of our area, then you would take your exams at one of a variety of different options. So the first option, or one example, is being able to take your exams on your corporate site or your company's location, which is oftentimes the most flexible. So we have had corporate proctors where there's somebody in HR or a supervisor that's willing to proctor your exams. You could do that on site. Other locations include community colleges, local colleges as well, libraries, etc. So this gives you a side-by-side comparison of somebody, particularly for those that, are debating between being an online student versus an on-campus student. So the program admission is exactly the same. So you have the same exact USC graduate application, same required materials. There's no difference in terms of the materials or the eligibility requirements. When you apply for admission, you're applying for a program, a graduate degree program. You're not applying for a particular delivery method, whether online or on campus. One of the reasons is because, there is flexibility. We have had students change their delivery method over time. So, that is an option as well. So for weekly course lectures, our dept Viterbi students, as I mentioned, really have our three options. So online with the interactivity, via the course archives, the course recordings, as well as being able to come to USC's campus. Whereas on-campus students are expected to attend all of the lectures on campus. They only have access to the course recordings or archives if there is a dept Viterbi student in the classroom. So it may be possible, but it is completely driven by whether or not there's a dept Viterbi student in the classroom. For assignments, you would have the same exact assignments. You would submit them electronically, typically through the course management system, and it would be the same deadlines. You do want to make sure that you pay attention to those. I talked about the exams. The courses per semester, again, it depends for our online students. It's flexible, but typically 1 to 2 versus 3 to 4 for on-campus students. And the degree completion requirements are exactly the same, 27 to 37 units with a 3.0 GPA or above. And there's absolutely no distinction on your diploma that you are an online student. You are earning the same exact degree, whether you earn the degree online or on campus. So this gives you a behind-the-scenes look at, what a typical dept Viterbi classroom looks like behind the scenes. And so, as I mentioned, we have an entire staff that's absolutely phenomenal in ensuring that, you are fully supported. And in this case, they're making sure that everything that is going on in the classroom that's important. It can be seen by you at home or wherever you're located, that you can hear everything. So there really are, our camera operators are really your eyes and ears during that lecture. So you're never just left alone to watch the lectures and without support. And this gives you an idea of what the lectures would look like, to download and stream them. So as you can see, it's very user-friendly. You can jump to certain parts of the lectures. You can actually fast forward and slow down the lectures as well if needed. So it's really flexible. You can bookmark content, and it's a great studying tool as well. And this shows you what it would be like, just an idea of during the live lecture. So as you can see, in this case, there is the faculty members using a smartboard, and you can see very up close, the content, sometimes even better than in the classroom. And then you can also see the faculty member as they are, emphasizing certain parts of the lecture as well. So, depending on the individual course, you may have, group meetings and group projects. And so for those group projects and meetings, we do have a variety of communication tools that our online students use, as well as our on-campus students. Many of our students oftentimes prefer to communicate outside of class, from a variety of video communication, whether it's BlueJeans, Google Hangouts, WebEx, etc., whether it's phone conferencing, desktop sharing, etc. Actually, just to ask you a question, Professor Shung, are a good amount of the lectures, do they involve like group projects or presentations, things like that, or do they tend to be a little bit more individualized?
You mean for online courses?
Or just courses that are offered online? Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it may be a more lecture type. In the class I did, it's more of a lecture type. And because if you want to have group projects and so forth, it becomes rather difficult.
Gotcha. So it just depends on the individual course.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. But, again, even if it's not the individual course within the live lecture, you have a variety of different tools to communicate and even to study together if needed with your online and on-campus peers. And as I mentioned before, you can call in during the live lectures to ask your questions. That way you don't have to wait till after the lectures. You can clarify anything that's going on during the session. Also, there's live chats and threaded discussion boards that, depending on the course, can be required depending on the individual instructor. So to just wrap up, dept Viterbi, so is there any difference between earning a master's degree on campus versus online via dept Viterbi? And the answer is no. dept Viterbi is strictly a delivery method because the admission criteria, curriculum, exams, homework assignments, graduation requirements are the same. You are earning the same exact diploma whether you earn the degree on campus or online via dept Viterbi. You would never need to worry that there would be any indication on your diploma that you're an online student. So some additional dept Viterbi information. So you also have the opportunity, we do have a limited status enrollment option in addition to formal admission. So limited status is a great option for those that have an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, or art science, or related degree to the program you plan to apply for later on. But you do have to have at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. And this is really just intended to be a jump start on taking courses. You could start as early as the spring 2020 semester. And that way you could get a jump start on courses before formally applying. It is important to note, though, that as a limited status student, you have a maximum of 12 units you can take. So if you are planning to apply for formal admission, you will want to make sure that you apply as early as possible to avoid a break in taking courses, as well as the fact that limited status is a great way to get started earlier, but it does not guarantee that you'll be formally admitted. But to get started is pretty quick and easy. You would just need to complete the dept Viterbi profile in order to receive approval, and you would receive a response within a few business days as to whether or not you are approved. In addition, we do have what's called the Employer Reimbursement Deferment Program. This is for those that need or want to defer their upfront payment of their tuition of up to 90% of their tuition until after the semester is over. So in order to be eligible for this, your employer must reimburse you for tuition at the end of each term. Of course, your student account must be current. And there are some requirements that you can read there. I won't go into them too deep, but if this applies to you, then you can visit the link provided there. And as I mentioned earlier, I will send you a PDF copy of today's presentation, so you will have access to these links as well, so no need to jot them down. For those of you that are curious about the tuition and fees, currently this is our tuition and fee structure. For the tuition, it is the same for our on-campus and online dept Viterbi students. There's no difference there. But you will want to take a look at the link provided there. There are some per semester fees that can vary based off of whether or not you're pursuing your program online versus on campus. And so you want to take a full look. Also keeping in mind that this is current as of today, but it is subject to change as well. So to get started, for those of you that are interested in pursuing your program on campus, we are welcoming of you to come to USC's campus. You can take a tour and explore. You can meet with a staff member as well. So you can start your application for formal admission. And then for those of you that are interested in taking classes online via dept Viterbi, you are also welcome to come to USC's campus if you are able to, but you are not required. Actually, our online students are not required to step foot on campus throughout the duration of their program, just in case you're wondering. But we do encourage you to start your application for formal admission as early as, for this upcoming fall 2020 semester. In addition, as I mentioned, you could get started as early as spring 2020, which starts in January, as a limited status student. Again, you would just need to complete the dept Viterbi profile. And so now I just, want to take a time. I did see that there are some questions. So thank you for sending over your questions. So the first one is, are we required to choose between online or on-campus classes in our application? And are we able to change between the two in case we decide to? Thank you for that question. So when you go to apply for formal admission, you would indicate if you are planning to pursue your program online via dept Viterbi, there is a question section when you add the program. The question will say something along the lines of, do you wish to pursue your program online via dept Viterbi? If you click yes, then that would indicate that you're interested in pursuing your program online. So you do need to select online or on campus. If later on you decide that you change your mind or maybe you move and you would like to pursue your program on campus, it is possible. Just keep in mind that we do not grant student visas for our online dept Viterbi students. So if you require a student visa, you do actually need to start as an on-campus student and complete your program on campus. We do not we do not grant student visas to our online students at any point in the program. So that's very important there. In addition, your question was, is it possible to finish online courses in a year and a half as a regular course? So, in terms of the timing or how long it takes to complete your program as an online student, as I said before, it's flexible. So you would have an academic advisor, a biomedical engineering advisor who could assist you in determining a course plan. That may or may not be possible depending on, the course offerings. But, we do encourage you to meet with your advisor to build out a plan if you want to complete your degree within a particular time frame, especially if it's an expedited time frame. Okay, another question is, I noticed the Biomedical microelectronics on a slide very early in the presentation. Under which department is the research conducted? And so is this under the biomedical engineering department? Biomedical microelectronics.
Yes. It actually was, I think, NSF Center grant. And I guess it ran for 10 years. Now I think it's over, but still, I think the research is continued. Yeah, I think the research is being done at the BME department, also in the medical school, ophthalmology department.
Perfect. Do you know by chance if it's cross-disciplinary between other departments at all?
Between other departments, I think there are faculty from other departments who are also involved. I'm quite sure of that.
Great, perfect. Yeah, many of our research centers are interdisciplinary in that sense as well. Thank you for that question. Another one is, are there opportunities for work part-time in some of the research labs for students? And I'm assuming for master's students in this case.
Yep. Well, I think the most important thing is for you to contact the faculty in advance. Typically, I think the master's students are not supported by research assistantships. It's rare. If it happens, it's very rare.
Yeah, I believe those are primarily for PhD students.
For PhD
right?
students, yeah.
Great question. And then I guess a follow-up for that is, if our students want to do direct research, is that a possibility?
That's a possibility. There's direct research credits. You can actually earn credits from doing that.
Great. Perfect. Let me see other questions. So, we do get this question a lot. Somebody that is, debating on, the first question oftentimes is, we have master's students that are maybe looking to start as a master's student but want to earn a PhD later on. Typically, do you recommend that they start as a master's student, and would that help them later on as a PhD student, or would you recommend that they go straight into a PhD program?
Either way. Yeah.
Great.
Both ways are fine.
Okay. And let's see what else. In terms of labs, so are there labs in any of the courses or any of the courses you've had? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think it's a trend nationally that that's probably one of the reasons why there's this conventional wisdom of converting all the 3 credits to 4 credits courses. That's because I think hands-on experience is emphasized now. So the 4th credit is usually used to add a lab. And so we have quite a few courses that have a lab.
Okay.
In fact, some of the new courses in the cellular molecular biology area will add a lab component to the course. That's why we have a wet lab set up.
Perfect. And so with regard to those that are online students, if a course is offered online, would, because obviously they can't come to campus, would there be labs in those types of courses?
I think it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah. So those would be just for the on-campus courses that you would have labs.
Right.
Okay, great. So I don't see any other questions at this time, but if you have any other questions, feel free to keep sending them over our way in the Q&A panel, and I will be able to answer those questions at that time. But, I do want to say thank you so much, Professor Shung, for joining us today. And hopefully you guys found this informative, and you can watch it over and over again if you want. For those of you that are also joining us at a later time through recording, thank you as well. Thank you all out there. If you have any questions beyond this time, please feel free to contact us via email. So our on-campus students, or prospective students, you'll want to email viterbi.gradprograms@usc.edu. For those that are interested in pursuing their program online via dept Viterbi, it would be dept.viterbi.usc.edu. Also, feel free to give us a call if you have any questions that you want to chat about. But, again, thank you so much, Professor Shung. Thank you all out there. Have a great rest of your day. And as we say out here at USC, fight on.